sound. And in answer, the first man spoke once more. Old Chang's son wants him to see his family dead first. Then we can finish him off. My eyelids snapped wide, my entire body going stiff and heavy with shock. I opened my mouth to cry out, and on a sharply indrawn breath, clenched my teeth together instead. I couldn't scream for help. I wasn't safe. They would hear me. The intruders passed between my window and the moonlight, their shadows trailing stealthily across the silk. 1, 2, 3, 4. My breathing was ragged, deafening in my own ears. Too loud. I trapped the panicked wheeze behind my closed teeth, holding my breath. Another shadow passed silently by. Mother and father would never hear them coming. My chest ached as if my ribs would crack, but I did not dare to make a sound. Not yet. My eyes followed the assassin's shapes, like the deer at bay watches the tiger. One man came close to the window and paused. The shadow's head tilted as if listening. He had heard me, sensed me. He would draw his blade, slice through the thin silk screen, and then... The man's shadow seemed to shake its head, before slithering swiftly from sight. I waited, but no more shadows passed. And then, when I could finally breathe, finally move, I found that I could not. Fear had seized hold of me, turning my limbs dense and numb, like rock. My familiar moonlit room swam and blurred before my eyes, and then disappeared as I squeezed the burning lid shut so hard that white sparks bloomed across my sight. I wanted to go back to sleep, to pretend I hadn't heard any of it. I wanted this to be a dream, a nightmare. Father's voice seemed to speak in my mind, calm and yet challenging. Are you a coward, daughter? The first breath seemed to claw my throat as I forced it in. No, I told my father. I am of the house of Hua. My knuckles popped with strain as they unclamped from the bed covers. I knew I should spring up from the bed, strong and swift, but my fumbling hands could hardly find the strength to push the covers back. I wobbled as I stood, the soft rugs next to my bed seeming to dip and sway beneath my weight, as if the floor had become the deck of a boat. I swallowed, a dry and painful gulp, and then squared my shoulders. My journey through the narrow black corridors was clumsy and halting. Every tiny night sound echoing through the house froze me in place with dread. The squeaking of my own feet on the floorboards terrified me. The men might already be inside. They would hear. They might be lurking in the shadows, ahead right now, waiting for me. What if they caught me? Got me before I reached my parents? By the time I stumbled to a halt outside my father's chambers, I was crying, soft whimpers escaping despite my best efforts. I did not know what I would find in my father's rooms. What if I was too late? What if... The carved wooden screen that separated father's bedchamber from the corridor was still closed. No sounds came from within. Torn between fear and overwhelming desperation to know, I shoved the screen back too swiftly, cringing from the squeak of wood sliding against wood. There was a soft snort from within, and then my mother's voice. Zhilan, what are you doing out of bed? Not too late. Tingling all over with relief, I rushed into the room. Mother, wake up! There are men in the house! I heard her sigh. The moonlight did not reach as far as their bed, and so I only just made out her shape, the pale smudge of her face, as she began to sit up. Child, it was only a bad dream. My father's voice broke in, intent and alert, even though moments before he must have been asleep. Speak again, daughter. They were in the courtyard, father. They said Shang's son wanted us dead, but they were to save you for last. And then, from the other side of the compound, the frantic jangle of a bell, and the sound of Shu Guo Liang, my father's oldest and most faithful retainer, shouting, Where? Where? Thieves! Murderers! Raise the house! Wake the master! There was a flurry of movement which I could not follow in the shadows. My father stepped into the pale shaft of light from the open screen door.